Coming up next on Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable, the impact of recent court decisions on gay marriage in Arizona, and why was a beheading video used in an Arizona congressional campaign? The Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Jeremy Duda of the Arizona Capital Times, Howard Fisher of Capital Media Services, and Aaliyah Rao of the Arizona Republic. A big week in the courts regarding a variety of gay marriage bans in a number of states, all of which is sure to impact a challenge to Arizona's marriage law. Jeremy, there's a lot to go through. Go ahead.
It was a whirlwind week, and we had things happening pretty much every day, starting with Monday when the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear appeals out of several circuit courts covering a bunch of states that threw out gay marriage bans. Tuesday, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals tosses out the gay marriage bans in Nevada and Idaho, which has major implications for Arizona because we're in the Ninth Circuit too. Those got stayed, the stays got lifted, and now the judge who's going to rule in the two challenges to our gay marriage ban says, well, it looks like these rulings require me to overturn Arizona's ban as well. We've got a week or so for people to issue their filings, but it looks like kind of a fait accompli at this point.
And that's really the key. Essentially what Judge John Sedgwick said to the state is, okay, you got basically till next Thursday, convince me I'm wrong, that somehow the Ninth Circuit precedent isn't binding, that your case is sufficiently different. And the funny thing is, it isn't. It's the same arguments that somehow children do better with male-female parents. The Ninth Circuit said there's no evidence of that, and if you believe that you need two parents, then get rid of divorce. Or that somehow will lead to bad behavior by parents, or somehow that heterosexuals will stop marrying because gays can marry. And the Ninth Circuit addressed every one of those issues.
But Aaliyah, going back on Jeremy's timeline here, with the Supreme Court refusing to hear those cases, that just set the whole thing in motion, didn't it?
It did. It kind of signaled to the entire country that they're going to leave it to the circuits. And so far, I think we're at 4 circuits now, 3 or 4, that have all ruled the same way. It's unconstitutional. If another circuit comes in, and we've still got several more to go, and there's a couple moving east a little bit that may rule it constitutional, and then you've got a split. And that's what everyone wants to see. Once we have a split, the Supreme Court will, I would think they might take it up.
Well, you would think they might take it up, and yet if they refuse to take it up now, it kind of signals that there isn't enough there to earn the split.
Well, not only that, you have to remember the Monday ruling was not specifically on the merits of whether gays can marry. It was, should we keep gays from marrying while these cases make their way all the way up to us? You have what's going to become a fait accompli. As people get married in all of these states, as suddenly you have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands gay couples already married, assuming you do have the split in the circuits, how does the Supreme Court come back and say, remember, how we told you, go ahead, now we're going to back out?
Well,
and I think they're purposely, the group of the 9 of them that believes that gays should be able to marry has basically purposely painted the court into a corner on this.
And it's hard to imagine where that split's going to come from. For all the states where the district courts have ruled these gay marriage bans unconstitutional, I think one where a judge has gone the other way, and that has absolutely no bearing on what the appellate court is going to do. I mean, the Supreme Court has laid out the blueprint for this, for all these district courts, for all these appellate courts, starting with Lawrence v. Texas, going to the Windsor case. Every one of these rulings is based on that, and even Justice Scalia, when he dissented in those cases, said, if you rule this way, there's really no way we could ultimately avoid saying that gay marriage bans are unconstitutional, and that's playing out pretty much as he predicted.
So, Aaliyah, the status now of Arizona's marriage law, where does it stand? What is Attorney General Tom Horne doing? What is he going to do?
He's got 2 routes he can take. He could say, okay, I've looked at the Ninth Circuit ruling, all the arguments are the same, all the arguments have been decided, I've lost, clerks, go ahead and start issuing licenses in 5 minutes. He's not going to do that. He's given no indication he'll do that. His other option is basically, file his filings with Judge Sedgwick over the next week and then decide, is he going to appeal that? But then he'd have to appeal to the Ninth Circuit, and they were pretty obvious about what they think. Or do you just, again, then drop it at that point and then direct the clerks to allow marriages?
And I think if I were betting, I would bet on the theory that Aaliyah has, which is sometime next Thursday, Horn, with the aid of the Alliance Defending Freedom, will file some briefs, seek to differentiate between the Ninth Circuit ruling and theirs. I think, given what we've seen of Judge Sedgwick and his ability to decide things very quickly, I think that somewhere within 2 hours to 24 hours, we will get a ruling upholding the Ninth Circuit as precedent here. And I think at some point, I think Tom Horn says, look, we've given it our college try. We have no reason to keep doing this. Now, that doesn't mean that Kathy Herod is not going to come in and say, well, we want to see if somebody else is standing. There's a theory floating around the Capitol that somehow lawmakers have standing to defend state laws. At a certain point, you just say, we've lost this. Let's just move on.
At a certain point, is that going to happen in Arizona? Because the fight on the other side is strong.
Well, I'm sure they're looking for their ways. I'm just not exactly sure how they're going to find it. I mean, especially, as you guys mentioned, in the end, if you appeal, it's always going to go back to the Ninth Circuit, which already said this is unconstitutional. Get out of here.
Well, you get the Ninth Circuit, and then you got the U.S. Supreme Court again signaling in ways that only the High Court can signal. Don't bring it here. Don't come back here with this thing.
And Kathy Herod this week has kind of given the impression that they're going to continue to fight the fight, but maybe they'll do it in different ways. And they never reveal their plans before they do them. But maybe there's legislation they may introduce, but they're going to come at it in a different direction. I think the courts, it's kind of, we've seen the end of it at this point.
Yeah. Well, where the next fights come. We have thousands of statutes that refer to marriage and refer to marriage as a man and woman. I'll give you a perfect example. We passed a law in Arizona several years ago that says in adoption cases, preference will always go to a married man and woman, not to a married couple. Okay, I'm waiting for the next challenge on that. Are these going to fall automatically? Are we going to be fighting these one by one? Is the legislature, much like they do with abortion? Abortion has been legal since 1973, and yet each year the legislature comes in and says, sort of like the dinosaurs in the Lost World thing. Okay.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Thank you, Ted.
Sure, whatever. That's what I'm
the
here
dinosaurs,
for. Yeah.
The dinosaurs were testing the fence all the time. That's what
but
these lawmakers
that
do.
analogy, but the abortion fight analogy immediately comes to mind because it's not that easy, and in Arizona, it's not going to be easy at all for either side. They're going to be chipping away at this thing for a year, are they not?
Well, and Kathy Herod has actually used the Roe v. Wade as her example. Roe v. Wade, we had a Supreme Court decision. Everyone thought the abortion issue was done. High Court has ruled. And look what we've done over the past decades. I mean, again, every year we've seen something. So expect something interesting to come from Arizona policy next year.
I have a feeling next Friday we will be discussing the same issue here, only in a much different way. All right, let's move on here. Arizona's economy is not doing all that well right now, and boy, the budget is just reflecting this. Talk about the numbers not getting any better out there.
Now they're not only not getting better, they're getting worse day by day, and much worse this week. Terrible fiscal news. We were already looking at a deficit next year. Now between this court ruling on education funding, this $330 million or so that we have to put in, plus lower than projected revenue because the economy is still struggling and not getting better as much as we thought it would, plus these tax cuts that are phasing in, we are now looking at a $520 million deficit for the current fiscal year that the legislature and the new governor are going to have to take care of pretty much on day one. $1 billion deficit the fiscal year after that, maybe $1.5 billion the year after that, and all these numbers are contingent on the courts not saying, hey, in addition to this education money, you have to repay the money you shorted the schools all these years, which is like $1.3 billion, I think.
Yep.
The real key is those tax cuts. Remember, these were enacted in 10. The governor said, give us a temporary sales tax hike, so we won't do corporate tax cuts at the same time because it's politically not a good idea. But just the message will stimulate the economy. It will cause businesses to come here. They will be flooding at our doors. We have a 30% cut in corporate income tax rates. We have a 10% cut in individual income taxes. We have new R&D tax credits. We're reducing business assessment ratios by 25%, all of which are kicking in. And yet the revenues, just baseline, even before that, is still below $9 billion, and yet we continue to do this, and nobody wants to talk about, was this a mistake?
Well, what happened to the Arizona? Was it the Arizona comeback or the Arizona turnaround? What
The
is it?
Arizona comeback came and went.
Okay, so what happened?
Or it never came at all.
But what's going on there? Why are we not doing as well as the rest of the country? What's happening out there?
I think that's the question everybody's asking. The economists are unsure. They say if you crash hard, you'll come back hard. And we're seeing that begin in California and Nevada, some other states. We're not seeing it in Arizona. And they don't seem to quite understand why. What it's related to, is it the military industries and not bringing back the home building? Everybody's
Well,
and no one's moving here like they have in the past.
and that's the thing. Remember, before the recession, close to one job out of every 10 in this state was a construction job. It's half of that now. So you start off with that. You go to the issue that our job losses were over 300,000, which is a higher percentage than any state, I think, except Florida. So you've got that as a factor. But you've also got the other thing that's become an issue in the governor's race. In all that time, we shorted universities. We went from funding 29% of universities to 17%. You know what we've done with K-12, which is why we're in court. And there's got to be a question in the minds of some businesses, do we want to go to a state where we cannot be sure we're going to have qualified applicants, where people are not going to be trained? And that, I know, I'm not trying to sound like Fred Duval here, because they're
You do.
and I appreciate it. But if you talk to business leaders, these are the same business leaders who came to the Capitol when they tried to kill Common Core last year and told lawmakers to their face, we are not hiring Arizona graduates.
And we'll get to this in a second, but those are the same business leaders who are supporting Doug Ducey for governor, who wants to get rid of Common Core, or so he says.
Or so he says.
So he
Yeah,
says. We'll see about
I'll
that.
tell you what, I'll
Yeah.
make you a bet today
Yeah.
that Doug Ducey's not getting rid of Common Core.
And all bets are off. As far as the what can the legislature do? Is this going to be another one of these things where reluctantly we're going to go to the public and say we need another penny sales tax increase, something along those lines?
It's hard to imagine that you can do that without someone like Jan Brewer at the top of the pyramid kind of cramming that down their throats. And what you have is two gubernatorial candidates who have said, I will not raise taxes. One very vehemently, one I suspect very begrudgingly, but they have both committed to that. They both say, I will not cut education, which they can't because of the courts, but there is I have no idea where to get this money. You have a rainy day fund, about $452 million,
doesn't
one-time
even cover
money,
this year.
Yeah.
one-time money that could cover most of the year. That Fred Duvall and now even Doug Ducey are talking about. We can use this, but that's just 1 year. And where the heck do you get $1 billion or more
The
for the next
counties and
year?
the universities.
Well, you can do some rating there, and the question is how much more can you cut from the universities? I'll tell you how you could do it and get around the pledge. Same way a lot of the lawmakers voted to send it to the ballot so they didn't increase taxes. But I'll tell you what would have to happen to make it acceptable. You would have to make part of that getting rid of the last year or two of the corporate income tax cut. You cannot go to the public and say, we are cutting corporate income taxes through 16 and 17 while we want you to pay more. I think you could sell a half cent, get rid of the last piece of the corporate. Again, it would have to go to the voters because otherwise you need a two-thirds vote.
Yeah, right.
But if you went to the voters with a package like that, it would sell.
And we're already hearing just a little bit of chatter, even from a Republican or two out over at the legislature, saying maybe we need to rethink these tax cuts from that 2011 jobs bill. Now, I have no idea where you find the political will to do this. I mean, you need a simple majority to make those tax cuts. You need 2/3 to raise them back up, and you can't even get a simple majority over there, especially if Doug Ducey is governor. And from there on, what do you do?
That's why I think you send it to the ballot, and it provides political cover.
Yeah, and you have to have people pushing for it once it gets to the ballot. You can't just reluctantly send it over and they say, I'm not for any of this, but I understand, again, he mentioned like a Governor Brewer who says, I am for it, I'm going to push for it.
And that took a year for her to do, remember?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a conversation last week with somebody from the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry who conceded the image problem we've got in Arizona, and I think the Chamber could be persuaded to use its resources and even give up some of the corporate tax cuts if they got 3/4 of what they were getting instead of 100%, but they balanced the budget. I think they'd be willing to do it.
We got some polls out here regarding the governor. I'm starting to think that the winner of the governor's race facing this deficit maybe will be the loser in the long run here. But we've got Ducey leading in an online poll and some other. What's going on out there?
There's polls everywhere. There's one poll that shows Ducey leading by 10%. I think even the Ducey supporters were kind of surprised by that margin a little bit. So I don't know how solid that is. We've got
That was a CBS New York, that was an online poll.
It was an
so-
online poll. So you get a certain demographic with that. You get, it wasn't a huge poll.
And you have other polls out there now, Jeremy, showing perhaps different results?
Yeah, I've seen 3 polls in the last 2 days. The first being that online poll, which a lot of people question the methodology on that because you can just erase your cookie and vote again. But it's a pollster with a pretty good track record, despite being online. They've gotten some pretty good results on the London mayoral race and French presidential race, apparently. Since then, what we saw today was a poll by American Encore, which is an independent expenditure group that has spent about $1.2 million supporting Doug Ducey. Poll comes out today, shows Doug Ducey up by 9, surprise, surprise. But then what we have is this poll by More Information. It's an Oregon-based pollster, Republican pollster, Fred Duvall up by 3.
Up by 3.
That is the best news Fred Duvall has gotten all election cycle pretty much since he learned that he wouldn't have a primary. And this is I expect to see about 1,000 fundraising emails in my inbox this weekend based on that. Now, the question is, do you believe it? Duvall has been outside. Just look at the outside spending alone in this race. Duvall is getting pummeled 5-1. There's about $5 million spent on Ducey's behalf since the primary, about $1 million on Duvall's behalf. Does this convince people to get in? Because a lot of the reason that people think that these outside groups aren't spending is that people have kind of written Duvall off. The Democratic Governors Association strapped for cash, and they got other battles to fight. Maybe
And
this
yet-
starts to convince some of
and
these
yet-
folks that he's a good investment.
On the other side, Duvall's camp is saying the Ducey camp wouldn't be this late buy. Once early voting started, there was another huge RGA buy. They wouldn't be spending this money if they didn't think that there was a race going on there. So what do we take from these numbers?
Well, I think if the RGA is now we're talking about the court painting itself into a corner. The RGA has done the same thing. Having spent so much, the RGA can't afford that in the last 3 weeks suddenly things go south, and then somebody says you spent $3 million or whatever in Arizona and came up with what?
Yeah.
So I think they feel the need to go with it. They've been sticking to a very basic theme: lobbyist Fred Duvall. Because we all know how much Republicans hate lobbyists. Leaving that aside, he's now they're shopping this idea that he had a going away party in Washington, which was hosted by a guy who lobbied for Saddam Hussein. Well, not a good thing. The question becomes, so if we're going to talk associations, now we get to talk to who does Doug Ducey get to hang around with, a guy with his own particular crazy brand of politics. This whole guilt by association thing, but everybody's throwing everything at it. I can't look at the news at night where all these political ads are without throwing up.
Does that not tell you that the race may be tighter than perhaps 10 points or 9 points as some, I don't know about Duvall leading, but it sounds like we got a race here.
It would seem like it. I mean, this is a national organization. They've got, a lot of races around the country. You would think if they were solid here, they would spend that on a race where they actually thought they needed to spend it. The fact they're spending it here seems to indicate that they feel like they need to spend it here for some reason.
Well, you got to keep in mind that the RGA has so vastly out fundraised the DJ. This Chris Christie has just been a monster fundraising with them. They're throwing money around in races where, like Oklahoma, places where where they really have no need to because the Republicans have such a lock, and they're just throwing cash around as much as they can. Now, I don't know if I buy Duvall by 3 points, but I'm not sure if I buy Ducey by 9 or 10 right now either. An interesting thing on the American Encore poll, which showed him up by 9, is this wasn't included in the information they sent out, but surprise, surprise, one of the people they polled happened to be Fred Duvall's campaign manager, and he let us know about some of the questions that they did not mention in these top lines they gave us. And right before they asked the question, who will you vote for? Fred Duvall, Doug Ducey, Barry Hess, John Lewis Mueller, whoever. They said, would you rather vote for a successful businessman or a lobbyist? Depending on who you talk to. It said career lobbyist or says lobbyist who worked in D.C. And that's probably going to influence a bit of the results there.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on this. And the polls, we should start. You just don't know what to trust anymore. I mean, and speaking of trust, we trust that most folks think that we do a nice job with debates here on Arizona Horizon. Had an interesting one for Secretary of State between Terry Goddard and Michelle Reagan. Got a little chippy, as always. At times it got chippy in my direction, which is not as always, but we live with that. That's the way things go. As far as the debate, SB 1062 dominated the debate, which was interesting because I understand where the Goddard camp is coming from with this. It's unfair bill, unfair. You can't be unfair if you're in the Secretary of State's office. But my goodness, that was a surprise that carried so much weight.
I wonder if SB 1062 for the general has become what the immigration issue was in the primary. People kind of burned out on immigration in the primary, but SB 1062, you're seeing, a lot of talk about, Kathy Herod and her relationship with Doug Ducey and sort of who else is in there, and well, what is the business community going to do, and what happens if 1062 comes back, and that's kind of the hot chit-chat topic right now, so maybe that's why it came up for you.
Well, and it also plays into what we started talking about, which is gay marriage, discrimination, and everything else. And to the extent that if Terry Goddard can paint Michelle Reagan or Fred Duval can paint Doug Ducey as being somebody who believes in discrimination. I mean, Doug's been very careful. Every time you ask him about 1062 or gay marriage, I don't think they should marry, but I will treat everyone with respect. This has become a time bomb. This has become a minefield for lawmakers, even those who do not support gay rights. They recognize, to the extent that they're seen as intolerant, that's a game changer.
Well, and this issue really tripped Reagan up in the debate. Like she almost like she didn't see it coming, which would be surprising because Goddard's actually been running TV ads against her on this. But, after most debates, you see both sides go into their press releases and Twitter and Facebook talk about how their side won. This did not happen after the Secretary of State's debate. That was pretty unilateral. This was not a good debate for Michelle Reagan. It was, she, didn't have her answers laid out. She seemed kind of off balance, unconfident, and very surprised/irritated that 1062 became such an issue, that Goddard was making it such an issue. And after, the day after, I even talked to Reagan's campaign people, and they said, look, confrontation is just not her strong suit, and it showed.
But that's the point. My understanding is, obviously I don't sit on the Republic's editorial board, but my understanding is she did not do well down there. Yep. She was supposed to appear in a debate, coming up this Sunday on Channel 12. She didn't show, send somebody as a stand-in. She doesn't like confrontation. She doesn't do well, but hell, welcome to the politics.
There are ways to deflect confrontation. Yeah. You don't have to be confrontational when someone else is acting that way toward you. It just seemed a little.
Yeah, she seemed to have difficulty not only responding to the confrontation, but deflecting it by bringing it back to an issue that she would want to talk about. I mean, that's typical with candidates. You don't want to answer the question, okay.
Right.
Ducey's great at it. Stick to your party line, stick to the issues you want to talk about, and that's kind of where you shine. And we didn't see that from her either, which was a little interesting.
And it was kind of surprising, I think, because those of us who've been interviewing Michelle Reagan for years, you talk to her, she's usually confident, she's on point, she has her facts laid out. Even when you press her, she could respond. It just that kind of confrontation, apparently, and that just kind of did her in.
All right, we got about a couple minutes left. Howie, what was the Wendy Rogers camp thinking when they put a beheading video, not the beheading itself, but the video produced by terrorists as part of a campaign ad?
Well, they talk about running around like a chicken without your head. I think this came down to, oh my God, we're losing. We're losing badly. So what else do we have to throw at it? And the Republicans, the big issue for them is Democrats are soft on terror. Look at the national thing. No matter what Barack Obama has done, he should be doing more. He should have boots on the ground. Wait, I thought you didn't want boots on the ground. Same thing here. And I think she believed that somehow it would show the vulnerabilities of Kyrsten Sinema. All it did was remind people that some advertising goes over the line. Much in the same way Kyrsten got criticized for using the VA scandal to her advantage, and she pulled that down quickly. I think that Wendy Rogers suddenly realized, no, this turns off even my own supporters.
But this went so far beyond that. This is a video that his family asked people not to watch. I mean, to make a political point by not going on social media and watching this video. And then she goes and puts it in an ad. Whereas the Sinema, I mean, the family of the soldier were in that one and had obviously endorsed one. But this is something the family had asked, please don't watch this, please don't remember him this way. And it's in an ad now.
Yeah, real quickly.
In the end, this is just about the only thing that's going to get that race any attention. I mean, Republicans wrote that seat off more than a year ago. The NRCC is spending really heavily in District 1 and District 2, but for some reason, not so much in District 9. So it looks like this is pretty much over already.
All right, guys. Good to have you here. Great stuff. Monday on Arizona Horizon, the results of a study that looks at how voice-activated technology impacts driving. And we'll see how a technology giant is helping low-income students prepare for college. That's Monday on Arizona Horizon. Tuesday, a debate. We'll hear from both sides of a ballot initiative protecting Arizona's sovereignty. Wednesday, another debate. This one concerns a proposition allowing the use of non-FDA approved medications. Thursday, we'll discuss Hispanic education in Arizona. And Friday, it's another edition of the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.